Hello, and welcome to the third Angels and Demons update video. As always, there will be timestamps in the description if you're only interested in a specific part, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about the ongoing Sprite Rework, some character redesigns, some specific development things, some new additions to Overworld physics, and the development state of World 2. Alright, so first let's talk Sprite Rework. It's basically finished. All of the character art that needs to be remade has been remade, save for a few specific edge cases, and that's because these specific sprites belong to either cutscenes or characters that are going to be overhauled and put in a different manner than they're currently implemented. Examples of what I mean by that would be Hector, Autumn, Impui, and some of the NPCs from World 1. For most of these characters, but specifically the NPCs, their implementation has been drastically changed, so there's a bit more work that has to go into it. But, to be fair, this work was a long time coming because their cutscenes and animations looked very dated compared to everything else around them, so it's likely that they would have gotten restyled or just completely overhauled in the future anyways. On the topic of sprites, I've also updated the dialogue sprites. So now all character portraits use a set size and they'll fit really neatly into the frame. And the actual size of the text box has been adjusted a bit along with the pixel size. Because beforehand, it wasn't consistent with all the other user interface sprites and it looked a little out of place. So that's been changed and now looks a lot more clean. You may have also noticed the new font inside the text boxes there. That's a custom font I've been working on, and it's a little unfinished in its current implementation because some of the lowercase letters don't really look correct and need to be adjusted a bit. But the important part is that we're going to be moving on from the default little system font and onto more clean looking fonts. Doing a custom font like this also lets me do one neat little optimization. Instead of using a function that draws the same letter or string of text like 5 to 8 times to create the outline effect, instead I just have the outline on the graphic for the font itself, which saves a lot of processing headroom on slower machines. On my machine, I'm pretty sure this saves about 250 to 300 frames per second, which is way more than just a simple text optimization should. I'd like to say this is probably just GameMaker's fault because it does not have the best GUI system right now, though that'll hopefully change in the future. So, a few devlogs back, I mentioned I was working on multiplayer, and that hasn't changed, but it is going to be put on the back burner. The reason for that is that in a recent GameMaker developer interview, the actual developers that work on GameMaker as an engine stated that they're going to be working on their own multiplayer system that will allow all games to use rollback netcode and puppets and stuff that I could code myself, but would probably be much more reliable if I used a built-in system. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, there should be a relatively decent implementation of multiplayer in the future. It just might be a bit before it happens. Now let's talk Overworld physics. I mentioned in the last development update video that I was working on making physics work correctly with slopes. So now when you dash into a slope, you'll carry some of that speed over the top of it and kind of fly into the air, and this will allow for some interesting movement in certain parts of the game. And finally, we're going to talk about the development of World 2. Now I don't have a ton of stuff to show off for World 2 because a lot of this development time has went towards tile sets, character design, and story optimizations. However, I can show you 2 brand new characters that will make their appearance very early into World 2. First up is the Kingdom of Westal's messenger and clown, Kay. Kay handles all the messages that come to and from the King of Westal. Despite her silly nature, she makes sure that all messages are delivered on time and she is very punctual with everything that she does. Next up, we have the clown and messenger of the East Side Democracy, Os. Os, much like his co-worker Kay, handles all the messages that come to and from the president of Eastern Mountains. Where Os lacks a bit of the punctuality of Kay, he makes up for it in his humor. He's much more of a jokester and fully embodies the clown persona. So while he may not always be on time, he's definitely sure to bring a laugh. Upon arriving to World 2, you'll meet Kay and Os together. They tell you it's a bad time to visit because there's a lot of tensions going on between the Eastern Mountains and the Westal Kingdom. However, you and Yui offer to help them out and figure out a way to ease the tensions between the two places, and what better way to do that than a show? The clowns both say that they're pretty good storytellers, and given some time could come up with a play that would cause the king and the president to settle their differences and come to an agreement. However, with Kay and Os working under the king and president respectively, it's up to you and Yui to take over their jobs for a little while so they have time to plan and prepare the play. So that's a little bit of a primer on what's going to happen right at the very start of World 2. I'm curious to know what everyone thinks about that, so be sure to let me know in the comments. So that about wraps up this development update. If you have any questions or feedback about these changes or additions, be sure to let me know in the comments. Make sure to check out the Linktree link in the description. That has links to all of my other social media pages, like Twitter, has a link to the Discord, and Twitch, and anything else I use. I post teaser updates in the Discord server and to Twitter, so if you're interested in seeing other stuff or things related to what I talked about in this video, be sure to drop a follow or join the Discord server. I try to do a devlog video about every month on YouTube, so if you're only interested in those, be sure to subscribe. And with all that said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.